I am 86 years old, and this morning I climbed up for the laundry hanging on the rooftop without holding onto the handrail even once. 18 steps. I counted them, as I count them every day, not because I'm out of breath, but because I like to remind myself what these legs are still capable of doing. And I want you to understand something before we continue, because it's the part almost no one tells you. I wasn't always like this. There was a time, not so many years ago, when getting up from the armchair after eating had become a small ceremony. I would place both hands on the armrests, push off, and even then, I would wobble for an instant, waiting for my knees to decide if they were going to support me. That instant, that half second of doubt, is what I want to remove from you today. Because there's something I learnt late, too late for my taste, and it's this. The strength of the legs isn't lost all at once. You don't wake up one day strong and the next day weak. It's lost in silence, a little each week, so slowly that your body keeps deceiving you. First, it's a staircase that leaves you panting. Then it's a street that seems longer than it was. Afterwards, it's that you no longer bend down for something on the floor because you don't know if you'll be able to get up with the same ease. And one day, without realizing it, you've stopped doing half the things you used to do. Not because you don't want to, but because your body stopped responding and you stopped asking it to. This is how it starts, and this is also how it can be stopped. Stay with me until the end, because today I'm going to tell you exactly what I eat before going to sleep so that these legs keep supporting me at 86, and why the moment I eat it matters as much as what I eat. These are simple foods found in any kitchen. Ones you might already have in your pantry right now without knowing the strength they hold. But there's one, the last of all, the most important, which is so common and so cheap that when I tell you, you'll think I've made a mistake. I haven't made a mistake. It's precisely that one that has done the most for me. But before naming a single food, let me give you the fact that changed the way I understood all of this, because I wish someone had explained it to me at 60. Your body doesn't repair muscles while you walk. It repairs them while you sleep. During the day, your legs work. They wear out. They get worn fiber by fiber with every step, every stare, every time you stand up. And it's at night, during deep sleep, when the body rebuilds everything that has been damaged during the day. It's like a construction site that only works at dawn when the street is silent. Now think about this. If that construction site starts rebuilding your muscles while you sleep, what materials does it use? With the last thing you gave it, with what you had for dinner. That's why what you eat at the end of the day is not a minor detail. It's the raw material your body will use for 8 hours to rebuild what the day knocked down. I spent my life caring about what I ate for breakfast and completely neglecting what I ate for dinner. And it turns out I was giving my body good food at the time it would least benefit, and leaving it empty-handed just when it had the most work ahead. When I understood that, I changed dinner before any other meal. And it was dinner, not breakfast, that gave me back the 18 steps. Now, before we continue, do me a favor, which helps me a lot for this channel to reach more people our age. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and write me 2 things in the comments below. How old you are, and from which country or corner of the world you are joining me today. I like to read all of them, really, because behind every comment there's a person with a story, with their ailments and their desire to keep going, just like me. And one more thing I want to ask you. While you listen to me, be honest with yourself. How do your legs feel lately? Do you notice them firm or tired, heavy, a bit treacherous? Keep the answer, because at the end of the video, I'm going to ask you to look at it again. I was born in a small town where life was lived on foot, and maybe that's why legs never seemed to me like something that needed care, but rather something that was simply there, like the sun or tap water. When I was young, I walked miles every day without thinking about it. I carried things back and forth, went up and down, carried whatever was necessary, and it never crossed my mind that it could end. No one warns you, no one tells you at 40, hey, enjoy these knees because you won't always be able to squat like this. I didn't know it either. The first warnings came to me after 70, and as they happen to almost everyone, disguised as unimportant things. I started preferring the elevator to the stairs. I started looking for a bench halfway through my walk. I started saying, I don't feel like going out today. And I thought it was laziness, when in reality my body was subtly telling me that it no longer trusted its own legs. The worst wasn't the tiredness. The worst was the fear, a small, dull fear that settles in without an invitation. The fear of a misstep, the fear of a loose tile, the curb, the rug that folds, the fear of falling. Because at our age, a fall isn't just a fall. A fall can be the day your life breaks in two, a before and an after. I've seen it in people close to me, and I don't want to tell you about it dramatically. I want to tell you the truth. I've seen strong, active people fade away in a matter of months after a silly fall in their own home. It wasn't the fall that extinguished them. It was what came after. The bed, the stillness, the muscle that wastes away when you stop using it. And this is where I have to put before you the word that no one explains to us, even though it affects us all. It's called sarcopenia. It sounds like a rare disease, but it's not. It's simply the loss of muscle that comes with age. After a certain age, if you don't do anything to prevent it, your body gradually loses muscle mass each year, little by little, without warning. And the muscle that goes fastest, what bad luck, is that of the legs and hips. Precisely the one that keeps you standing, that gives you balance, that decides if you get up from a chair with ease or with that ceremony I mentioned at the beginning. It's not that you age and therefore weaken, it's that you lose muscle. And lost muscle is what makes you feel old. And I tell you this so you remember what's important. Muscle can be recovered at any age, even at 80. I am the proof, and I am no one special. I am a normal woman who one day decided to stop giving up piece by piece. I am not a doctor, and I'm not here to give you medical prescriptions. I will never tell you what you have to take or what you have to stop, because that's between you and your doctor, who knows you and has your history in front of them. What I bring you is something else, something no paper gives you. What I have experienced in my own body, what I have tried, what has worked for me and for the people my age whom I love. Take it for what it is. The experience of an 86-year-old woman who still climbs her 18 steps and wants you to climb yours. Now let me explain why I insist so much on the night. Because it's not a whim of mine. For many years, I would have anything for dinner. Leftovers, a little bread with something. Sometimes I would go to bed almost without dinner, thinking that my stomach would rest better that way. And without realizing it, I was asking my body to rebuild my muscles all night without giving it almost anything to work with. It's like asking a bricklayer to build a wall and not giving him bricks or cement. No matter how much goodwill he has, he can't. Muscle is made mostly of protein, and the body constantly spends and replenishes protein day and night. The problem is that at night, if you don't give it anything, the body doesn't just sit still waiting. It will look for protein elsewhere, and that elsewhere is usually your own muscle. In other words, if you go to bed with an empty tank, your body can spend the night breaking down some muscle to get what it needs. Think about it. The very hours that should be for rebuilding, you unknowingly turn into hours where you dismantle yourself a bit. That's why a well-thought-out dinner, light but complete, is not just food. It's an instruction you give your body. Tonight, instead of wearing yourself out, get ready. And don't be scared. I'm not telling you to have a banquet dinner before bed. Quite the opposite. A heavy dinner disrupts your sleep and makes you feel like a stone. What I'm talking about is a smart, small dinner with just the right things your body will need in the early hours. Small quantities, but well chosen. Let's look at these things one by one, from the one that paves the way to the one I consider the most important of all. Let's start with the first, which for many will be a surprise. Sweet potato. In some places they call it yam, in others sweet potato. But it's that orange-fleshed sweet root that you might have forgotten in a corner because you weren't sure what to do with it. Well, for your legs, and especially for the night, sweet potato is a treasure that almost no one uses as they should. You see, a muscle doesn't just run on protein. It needs fuel, just like an engine needs gasoline, no matter how good it is. And the best fuel for muscle is carbohydrates, that word that has instilled so much fear in us. Not all carbohydrates are equal. Some burn quickly and leave you stranded half an hour later with a slump that forces you to sit down. And there are others, like sweet potato, that release slowly, little by little, providing a calm and sustained energy for hours. That slow energy is exactly what your body needs while you sleep, because sleeping hours are long, and the body cannot be left halfway. A little sweet potato for dinner is like leaving the pantry full for the whole night. But there's another reason, and few know this. Sweet potato helps you rest better, and deep rest is when muscle truly repairs. A mild carbohydrate at night relaxes, invites sleep, makes the body unwind. I used to toss and turn in bed, falling asleep late and waking up tired, as if I hadn't truly slept. And a person who doesn't sleep deeply doesn't repair. It doesn't matter how well they eat. If sleep is bad, repair is bad. Since I've been having a little sweet potato for dinner a couple of times a week, I sleep through the night, and in the morning, my legs respond differently. It's not magic. It's that I've given my body what it needed and let it work in peace. And there's still more inside that orange root. That color isn't there by chance. The orange color of sweet potato comes from substances that the body uses to care for tissues, to repair them, to keep them young. It contains potassium, which is a mineral almost no one talks about, and which turns out to be one of the keys to strong legs. I'm going to explain why, because you'll hear this several times throughout the video. Potassium is what allows the muscle to contract and relax properly. When you lack potassium, the muscle gets stiff. It tenses when it shouldn't. And that's where those nocturnal cramps appear that wake you up suddenly with your calf hard as a rock. Has that happened to you? It happened to me. And many nights, since I've been mindful of potassium, they have almost disappeared. Sweet potato also contains fiber, which helps digestion run smoothly and ensures that all the good things you eat are truly utilized. Because it's no use eating well if the body doesn't absorb it. How do I eat it? Very simple. I roast it in the oven until it's soft and sweet, and that's how I manage. Sometimes I mash it. Sometimes I put it in a warm cream that feels wonderful for dinner, especially in winter. You don't need a lot. A piece about the size of your fist is enough. The important thing is not to gorge yourself one night and forget about it for a month. The important thing is that it returns to your table regularly, a couple of nights a week, so your muscles learn that they once again have a full pantry for the early morning. Let's go with the second one, which also surprises many people when I suggest it for the night, because they have it pigeonholed as a breakfast item. Oats. Yes, plain old oats that seem so bland, so convent-like, so insignificant. Precisely therein lies its secret. The humblest foods are almost always the ones that have sustained us the most. And oats at night do 3 things for your legs that I want you to understand well. First, calm energy. Like sweet potato, oats release their energy slowly, without jolts. At our age, the body handles blood sugar fluctuations worse. You eat something that spikes quickly, and a while later you get a slump. And with the slump come weak legs, a foggy head, and that uncontrollable desire to sit down. Oats prevent that slump. It's a background energy, serene, what the body needs during sleep to avoid having to draw on your muscles. The second reason is a mineral that, for me, is one of the most important for the whole night: magnesium. Oats contain magnesium, and magnesium is the mineral of muscular calm. You know that tension that stays in your legs at night? That feeling that they just won't relax? That annoying tingling that doesn't let you stay still in bed? Many times, behind that is a lack of magnesium. Magnesium helps the muscle truly relax, helps the nerves calm down, and prevents cramps. I pay close attention to magnesium, and a good part of those bad nights when my legs seemed to have a life of their own went away when I started taking care of it. Furthermore, magnesium helps you sleep more deeply, and you know what deep sleep means: true repair. And the third thing oats do is take care of your internal plumbing, if you'll allow me to call it that. Oats contain a special fiber that helps keep the arteries clean, through which blood flows. And this is fundamental for the legs, because the legs are at the end of the blood's journey. They are the farthest from the heart. If the blood doesn't reach all the way down well, the legs get cold, they get tired, they feel heavy, lifeless. They need oxygen to reach them, and oxygen travels in the blood. Taking care of circulation is taking care of your legs. It's that direct. I eat oats at night in a very simple way, almost like when I was little. I heat them in a little milk or vegetable drink, let them thicken, and I eat them warm a while before going to bed. That warm bowl relaxes me, prepares me for sleep, and inside, it's doing everything I've told you. If it seems too simple, trust me. What is simple, when constant, is what changes things the most. One night of oats does nothing. Oats as a habit change your sleep and change your legs. We come to the third, and this one comes into play when the problem is not just that the legs are weak, but that they are also stiff, tight, uncomfortable. Avocado. You might see it as a trend for young people, but it's one of the oldest and noblest foods there is. And for our legs at night, it plays a role that no other food does equally well. With age, many of us wake up in the morning with stiff legs, as if they had been soaked in cement. The first stretch of the hallway is hard, knees creak, calves pull, and until the body warms up, we don't feel like ourselves. Sometimes it's not strong pain, it's a dull, constant discomfort, as if the body were in a bad mood and didn't want to move. Behind that, many times there's something unseen, but that does a lot of damage over time. A low, permanent inflammation that seeps into muscles, joints, tendons. You don't feel it like an injury, you feel it like a clumsiness that won't go away. This is where avocado comes in, because its fats are not bad fats. They are the kind that put out fires inside. They are fats that help reduce that silent inflammation. And when inflammation goes down, the change is noticed in a very specific way. You move with less discomfort. Legs wake up less stiff, knees move more freely, and this seemingly small thing has an enormous consequence. Because when moving hurts less, you move more. And when you move more, muscle is maintained. Look at the chain. You eat better, you hurt less, you move more, you get stronger. Food opens the door, but it's movement that enters through it. Never forget it, because I will repeat it until the end. No food in this world will strengthen your legs if you don't move them. Avocado also contains that potassium I already mentioned with sweet potato, the mineral for the legs. You already know what it does. It keeps the muscles supple, prevents cramps, helps contraction and relaxation happen as they should. And, as if that weren't enough, it contains vitamin E, which is like a shield for cells, protecting them from the wear and tear of that internal oxidation that years leave us with. It's a food that cares on many fronts at once, and that's why I hold it in such high esteem. At night, I eat a small amount, half an avocado at most, because it's substantial, and it's not advisable to overdo it before sleeping. I mash it with a little salt and a few drops of lemon and eat it with something light. Other times, I put it on a small piece of toast. Well, that's enough. With avocado, the key isn't quantity, it's smart consumption. The right portion several times a week and whenever your health allows it, which you know better than I do. Before continuing with the 3 I have left, which are the strongest of all, I want to tell you something. All this I'm explaining and much more, I have gathered and organized in a guide I prepared with all my affection so you don't have to memorize it. It's called Independent at Any Age. And in it, I tell you step by step and in simple words how to use everyday foods and a few small habits to care for your legs, your memory, your circulation, and your desire to live without depending on anyone. Because that's what it's all about in the end, isn't it? To be able to fend for yourself for as long as possible. If you're interested, the link is in the first comment and in the description, right below here. And now, let's continue, because what's coming is truly important. The 4th is red berries. Strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. Those tiny fruits that fit in the palm of your hand and seem too delicate to do anything important. Don't be fooled by their size. When it comes to protecting your legs, they have a strength that much larger foods would envy. When we think of muscle, we almost always think of building it, making it stronger. And that's good. But there's a part we forget, which is protecting it. Every day, just by living, by breathing, by walking, by being in the sun, the body undergoes an unseen wear and tear. It's like rust on iron. Little by little, silently, it damages from within. That invisible wear and tear is what makes your legs take 2 days to recover after a walk instead of 1. It's what makes you wake up with stiff knees. It's what makes a simple task leave you exhausted for longer than it should. After 60, the body no longer repairs that wear and tear as quickly as before. And that's where red berries come in like few others. They are loaded with substances that precisely combat that internal oxidation. They are like small firefighters putting out the fires that ignite inside every day. They help the muscle recover sooner, prevent damage from accumulating, and make you age more slowly from within. And they also contain vitamin C, which isn't just for colds as we were taught. Vitamin C is what the body needs to produce collagen, and collagen is what keeps tendons, ligaments, everything that attaches muscle to bone strong. Because a strong muscle is useless if the tendons that support it are weak. It's like having a powerful engine tied with threads. Your legs need both, the muscle and the anchor. Red berries also help circulation, allowing blood to flow smoothly and reach all the way down with its oxygen and nutrients. And I'll tell you more. Those same substances that protect your legs also care for your mind. Because I don't just want strong legs. I want a clear head in my later years, a sharp memory, to be able to remember names, dates, faces. And it turns out that what cares for the legs also cares for the brain. 2 birds with 1 stone. At night, I eat them in small quantities, a handful with oats or alone, and they taste glorious. And let me relieve a concern, because I know that in many places, fresh strawberries and blueberries are expensive or unavailable out of season. Frozen ones work just as well. They don't lose their goodness by being frozen, and often they are cheaper, and you can get them all year round. So don't come to me with the price excuse, because there's a way for everything. Let's move on to the 5th, which is a big one. Oily fish. And first and foremost, salmon. Every time you get up from a chair, every step you climb, every minute you stand, the muscles in your legs are supporting your entire weight, your entire body, without rest. It's an enormous job, and with age, the body loses some of its ability to repair those hard-working fibers. That's why many people feel that their legs no longer hold up as before, even if nothing in their life has changed. It's not that they do more, it's that they repair less. Salmon helps in 2 ways, and both are very important at night. The first is protein, and good protein, complete protein, the kind the body utilizes almost entirely. Remember what I told you at the beginning. Muscle is made of protein, and at night the body needs it to rebuild. Giving it good protein for dinner is like giving it the right bricks at the moment it starts building. The second way is special fats, called omega-3s, which are abundant in oily fish and do something wonderful. They keep the blood vessels flexible, through which blood flows. When arteries are flexible, blood reaches the legs better, with more oxygen, with more nutrients. And a well-irrigated leg is a leg with energy, with endurance, that doesn't get tired at the first sign of effort. These same fats also help reduce inflammation, the kind we already saw with avocado, which stiffens joints and makes everything harder. An inflamed muscle recovers worse. An inflamed knee bends worse. The omega from oily fish works right there, calming that low fire. And it still does something more, something almost no one associates with legs. It cares for the nerves, because your legs don't obey on their own. They obey your brain, which sends them orders through the nerves. If that communication gets dirty, delays, you take a step a fraction of a second later. You react a fraction of a second worse. And at our age, that fraction of a second is the difference between regaining balance in time or falling to the ground. Omega-3 cares for that telephone line between the head and the legs. You don't need to eat salmon every day, far from it. With twice a week, many people already notice the difference. Each person according to their possibilities and what their doctor tells them. I cook it grilled, baked, or steamed without complicating things. And if salmon is expensive for you, it's okay. There are other humbler and cheaper oily fish that contain those same good fats. Small whiting, the kind eaten almost whole, is a forgotten gem that costs next to nothing. Don't obsess over the name of the fish. Stick with the idea. Oily fish a couple of times a week, and your legs will thank you. And now, we come to the last one. The one I promised you at the beginning. The one that will make you think I've made a mistake because it's too simple. I haven't made a mistake. The most important food of all for keeping your legs strong is the egg. Yes, the usual egg, the one that costs little, the one found in any kitchen, the one that for so many years was unjustly frowned upon. We look for expensive, complicated solutions with strange names, and it turns out that one of the most powerful things we had in the fridge all along. Let me explain why I consider the egg the crown jewel. The egg has the best quality protein found in food. So good that experts use it as a reference to measure all others. And it's not just the quantity of protein. It brings all the building blocks the body needs to rebuild muscle, the complete ones, without missing any. For us, who after a certain age lose muscle faster than we build it, that is pure gold. An egg at night is giving your body, just before those hours of repair, the exact material from which muscle is made. But there's one thing I want to correct, because many people of our generation do it wrong out of fear. They throw away the yolk, eating only the white, and throw away the most valuable part. In the yolk, in that yellow part that we fear so much, is the best of the egg. There's a substance there that helps your nerves talk to your muscles. And this is key. Listen carefully, because your legs don't just need strength, they need coordination. They need to respond when you stumble, when you dodge something, when your foot doesn't find the ground where you expected it. That substance in the yolk is what lubricates that communication between the head and the legs, making the order arrive quickly. A strong muscle that reacts late won't save you from a fall. A muscle that reacts in time will. And in the yolk, there's also some vitamin D, which almost all of us are low on, and which is fundamental for strength, for balance, and for bones to hold up. So, the yolk is not to be thrown away. The yolk is to be utilized. You don't need to eat a dozen. For most people, 1 or 2 eggs a day are perfectly fine within a healthy diet. And today we know that the old fear was very exaggerated. But since everyone is different, if you have any particular condition, ask your doctor how many are right for you. At night, I eat 1 boiled or in a small omelette with some vegetables. And I rest easy knowing that while I sleep, my body has something to work with. And now listen to the most important thing I'm going to tell you today. More important than any food on the list: consistency. Eating an egg one night and forgetting for 3 weeks is useless. Eating well on Monday and terribly the rest of the week is useless. Your muscles are not maintained with one good day. They are maintained with many normal days, one after another, quietly, without heroics. Prevention is not done with grand gestures. It's done with small habits repeated 1,000 times. And that's the good news, because to be consistent, you don't need to be special, rich, or strong. You just need to decide, and decide again every day. And here I have to pause and tell you something with all the firmness I am capable of. Because if you only focus on food, I will have explained myself poorly. Food is half, only half. The other half is movement, and without it, everything else falls short. You can have the best egg in the world for dinner, the best fish, the best sweet potato, but if your legs don't move, the muscle has no reason to stay. The body is an incredible saver. What you don't use, it discards. The muscle that doesn't work, it dismantles to avoid spending on its maintenance. So if you want to keep it, you have to give it a reason every day. And that reason is to use it. Don't be scared. I'm not asking you to run or go to the gym or do anything you can't. I'm asking for small things that fit into any life. When you're sitting watching television, lift your heels off the floor and lower them many times in a row, as if marching in place while sitting. That wakes up your calves and moves the blood. Get up from the chair and sit down again several times in a row, slowly, controlling the descent. That seemingly silly gesture is one of the best exercises for the legs, because it's precisely the movement you might one day fear not being able to do. Walk a little every day, even if it's just around the house, from the living room to the kitchen and back, setting small goals for yourself. And in the morning, before starting to walk, stretch your legs for a moment in bed. Move your ankles in circles. Wake up your body before demanding anything from it. This, combined with what you eat for dinner, is what truly changes things. Food prepares the ground at night, and movement works it during the day. One without the other limps. Both together support you. I'm so clear about this that every morning before going down my 18 steps, I do my heel raises and chair, stands, and then I go up. It's not athlete's discipline. It's affection for my own legs, which are the ones that carry me everywhere and which I want to keep until the end. Now let me tell you some stories, because I can talk to you about nutrients and minerals all you want, but where these things are truly understood is in people's lives. And all these people I'm going to tell you about are flesh and blood, people I know, people who have gone through the same thing you might be going through right now. I'll tell you first about a woman. This woman is my age, more or less, and until 3 years ago, she was the most outgoing of all of us. The first to get up, the last to get tired, and suddenly she started to fade, not due to a specific illness, but because of what I told you before. She stopped moving because it was difficult, and by stopping moving, it became even more difficult, a cycle she didn't know how to break. One good day, she almost fell while going down a curb. Startled, she grabbed a lamppost, and from then on, she didn't want to go out alone again. She isolated herself, and in a year she had lost so much strength that she could no longer get up from the sofa without someone giving her a hand. What got her out of it wasn't a miracle medicine. It was starting small. She changed her dinner, started paying attention to protein at night, eating her fish, her egg, her sweet potato, and above all, she started doing her chair stands. 5 at first, which seemed like a world to her. Today, she does 30 in a row and has returned to the market by herself. She's not the same as she was at 40, of course not, but she has recovered her life, which is what matters. Then there's a man who is a different case and very common among men. He was one of those who thought he didn't need to take care of himself, that he had always been strong and always would be. He ate without thinking, had sausage and bread for dinner almost every night, and laughed at us when we talked about these things. Until one winter, he caught the flu that kept him in bed for 2 weeks, and when he tried to get up, his legs didn't recognize him. In 2 weeks in bed, he had lost strength that took him months to recover. That scare changed him. He understood the hard way how quickly muscle is lost when you stop using it and don't nourish it. Now he's the first to pay attention to what he eats for dinner and to move his legs every day. He says he wishes we had convinced him sooner without the need for the flu. There's also a woman who had a problem you might recognize immediately: midnight cramps. She would wake up suddenly, screaming, with her calf as hard as a stick, and sometimes it happened 2 or 3 times in the same night. She lived in fear of going to bed. When she started paying attention to potassium and magnesium with the things I've talked about, avocado, oats, sweet potato, and drinking a little more water during the day, her cramps gradually spaced out until they almost disappeared. Now she sleeps through the night. Such a simple thing restored her rest. And I want to tell you about the case of another woman because it touched me personally. She is one of those people who gradually abandon themselves without realizing it after being left alone at home. Cooking for one person is tedious, and you end up having anything for dinner. A glass of milk with cookies, a little bread, whatever, just to avoid lighting the stove. She was like that for a long time, and her legs paid the price. The day we talked about it, she told me something I haven't forgotten. It's just that for me alone, it's not worth it. And I told her, look, you are worth it. Taking care of yourself is not a luxury done for others. It's a gift you give to yourself. She started cooking simple things again: an egg, grilled fish, her roasted sweet potato. And after a few months, not only were her legs firmer, but she also had a different look, a different spirit. Because taking care of the body also takes care of the soul. Never doubt it. I'll tell you one more, about a woman who gives me the most hope. She started all this at 90 years old. 90. When I spoke to her about taking care of dinner and moving her legs, she laughed and told me that at her age, there was nothing more to do, that her role was to wait sitting down. I replied that waiting sitting down is precisely what wears us out the fastest. It took her convincing, but she started slowly, very slowly, with her chair stands and her careful diet. And you know what? At 90 years old, the body also responds. Slower than at 60, of course, but it responds. Today, she walks around her house with more confidence than 3 years ago. And what moves me most is what she says: that she has stopped feeling like a burden, that she feels useful again. If she could start at 90, tell me what excuse you have left. I have told you these stories for a very specific reason, and I want you to understand it well. All these people had something in common before starting. They thought it was too late. All of them, without exception, believed that at their age, what was lost, and they were all wrong. There is no age at which the body completely stops responding. It responds less. It responds more slowly. You have to have more patience, okay? But it responds. As long as you breathe, your body is capable of improving if you give it what it needs. No one told me that. I've seen it with my own eyes, again and again, in those people and in myself. Because I don't want you to be left with the idea that I am a rare case, a lucky older woman who happened to have good health. It's not that. I had my bad years, my leaden legs, my fear of the stairs, my ceremony to get up from the armchair. The difference between who I was then and who I am today is not luck. It's that one day I stopped resigning myself and started doing the small things I'm talking about. And I didn't do them perfectly. There were weeks when I gave up. days when I ate terribly for dinner, periods of discouragement. I started over every time, and starting over as many times as necessary is the true secret. Not perfection, but persistence. Now I want us to talk about how all this fits into a real day. Because theory is one thing, and your kitchen, your tiredness, and your desire to not complicate things too much are another. I'm not into strange recipes or buying expensive things I can't even pronounce. My thing is the usual stuff, well used. And I'm going to tell you what a typical day in my life is like. Not for you to copy it exactly, but so you can see how simple it is when it becomes a habit. In the morning, first thing, I move my legs in bed. Circles with my ankles, stretching and contracting. Waking up my body before asking it to carry me anywhere. It's 1 minute, but it's 1 minute that tells my legs, "Good morning, let's start with care." Then, in the kitchen, I have a quiet breakfast, without rushing. Throughout the day, I drink water. And I want to emphasize this because almost no one takes it into account. At our age, we lose the sensation of thirst. We stop feeling like drinking even if the body needs it. And the body with little water has thicker blood, slower circulation, and muscles more prone to cramps. So even if you're not thirsty, drink little by little, sips throughout the day. Water is what makes everything else work. I move when I can, without obsessing. A walk, if the day allows, and if not, my rounds around the house and my chair exercises. And then comes dinner, which is the moment I've paid most attention to since I understood about nighttime repair. I have dinner light, early if I can, to give my body time to digest before going to bed. And at that dinner, I try to include 2 things. Some good protein, which can be an egg, a little fish, and something from the rest of the list depending on the day. One night, my egg with a little avocado. Another night, fish with sweet potato. Another, a warm bowl of oats with some red berries. Not everything every night. I vary according to what I have, what I feel like, without stress. The only thing that doesn't change is the underlying idea that my body, while I sleep, will have what it needs to rebuild itself. And there's something that accompanies all this and is as important as food: sleep. Sleep is not lost time. It's your body's night shift when it truly repairs. If you sleep poorly, little, in fits and starts, no matter how well you eat, the repair is incomplete. That's why I take care of my rest as I take care of my plate. Light and early dinner. Little light at night, no fuss before going to bed. A body that sleeps well is a body that repairs well. And a body that repairs well wakes up with firm legs. Now let me face the excuses, because I know them all. I've made all of them myself at some point. And I know that perhaps as you listen to me, some are circling in your head. Let's look at them head on, one by one. The first and most common is that, at my age, it's not worth it anymore. This is the excuse that has left more people stuck in an armchair, and it's a lie. I've seen it in a woman who started at 90. I've lived it myself. The body doesn't have a sign that says, closed due to age. As long as you're alive, every good thing you do for yourself has an effect. Maybe you won't be the person you were at 50 again, but you can be a much stronger version of who you are today. And at our age, that difference is the difference between being able to fend for yourself or depending on others. Does that seem insignificant to you for it to be worth it? The second is, what's the point of doing it alone? This is like the story of the woman, do you remember? The one who was left alone and thought that taking care of herself only made sense if there was someone else. Listen closely. You are reason enough. Your independence is reason enough. Being able to shower alone, go out alone, not having to ask for help for the most basic things, that is dignity. And dignity deserves that you cook an egg, even if it's just for yourself. Taking care of yourself is not vanity, It's the most honest way to love yourself. The third is that it's too expensive. And here I chuckle fondly. Because of all the list I've given you, what's expensive? The egg is one of the cheapest things there is. Sweet potato, oats, dirt cheap. Frozen red berries are dirt cheap. Humble oily fish costs nothing. The only one that goes up a bit is salmon. And I already told you it can be substituted for other fish. This is not food for the rich. It's everyday food, the kind that raised us. There's no money excuse that applies here. The fourth is that I don't even have the strength to start. And I understand this one better than any because tiredness is real. And sometimes it traps you. But look at the trap. The less you move, the less strength you have. And the less strength you have, the less you move. It's a pit. And you don't get out of a pit with one jump. You get out by a small ladder, rung by rung. Start with the smallest thing you can imagine. One chair stand. 1, tomorrow, 2. You don't need to start with strength. Strength comes later as a reward, not before as a requirement. You just have to take the first small step, and your body will gradually give you back the rest. And the fifth, which is the quietest of all, is, I don't believe it. I've tried other times. I have special respect for this one, because behind it are real disappointments, attempts that went wrong, diets that didn't work, promises that weren't kept. And that's why I want to be honest with you. This is not a promise of a miracle. You won't wake up tomorrow with the legs of a 20-year-old. What I offer you is something else, slower and truer. Small changes sustained over time that one day you notice without realizing it. One day you climb a staircase and realize you didn't stop halfway. One day you get up from the armchair and see that you didn't put your hands down. There, in those small moments, is where the result lives. Don't look for a miracle in one day. Look for the change over a month, 3, 6. That's the one that lasts. I want to pause for a moment on something that goes beyond legs, although it has everything to do with them. Because when I talk about leg strength, deep down, I'm talking about something much bigger. I'm talking about freedom. Think about it carefully. What frightens us most, those of us who are already getting on in years? It's not death, I tell you. What truly terrifies us is dependence. Having to ask for help to go to the bathroom. It's a child having to leave their life to come and help us up. It's losing your own home because you can no longer manage it. It's others making decisions for us because we can no longer manage ourselves. All that fear, it almost always starts with the same thing. Legs that stopped responding. That's why taking care of your legs is not a matter of vanity or showing off. It's the first line of defense for your independence. Strong legs are what allow you to keep living in your own home, keep going out to buy things, keep going to see your loved ones, keep being the owner of your days. The day your legs fail, everything else starts to fail. Not because your mind isn't working, but because your body traps you. And I don't want that for you. I don't want you to be trapped. I want you, at 80, at 90, to keep climbing your steps, whatever they may be, and feeling that your life is still yours. And here's the beautiful thing about all this. That freedom is built at the table and on your living room floor, not in an expensive or distant place. It's built with what you eat for dinner tonight and with tomorrow morning's chair stands. It's built with decisions so small they almost make you laugh. But repeated 1,000 times, they sustain your entire life. No one is going to do it for you. Not even the best doctor in the world can eat dinner for you or get up from the chair for you. This is your business, and that's the best news I can give you, because it means it's in your hands, literally in your legs. Every time you choose to eat something that nourishes you instead of just anything, you are telling your body, I want to stay on my feet. Every time you get up from the chair one more time, even if you're tired, you're telling your legs, I still need you. Don't go. And the body listens to that message. The body always responds to how you treat it. Treat it as if you still have a lot of walking left to do, because you do. Let's review the 6 so you remember them well and know where to start tonight. Sweet potato gives you calm, long-lasting energy for the whole night, and that gentle carbohydrate also helps you sleep more deeply, which is when muscle truly repairs. Oats provide that same serene energy and, above all, magnesium, the mineral of calm, which loosens the legs and wards off cramps. Avocado brings you good fats that reduce silent inflammation, the kind that stiffens joints, and potassium to keep muscles working smoothly. Red berries protect your muscles from the invisible wear and tear of every day and help produce the collagen that keeps tendons strong. Oily fish gives you good protein and those fats that keep blood flowing and care for the communication between your head and your legs. And the egg, the king of them all, provides the best protein available, and in its yolk, what lubricates coordination and helps you react in time. 6 simple, cheap, everyday foods that together, and at night, form a small army at the service of your legs. But remember what I've repeated so many times, don't forget it. These 6 are not magic, they are tools. They truly work when they are part of a whole, eating smart, drinking water even if you're not thirsty, moving every day within your capabilities, and sleeping well so that repair is complete. Take one leg off that table, and the table limps. Put them all on, and it supports you. And I want to tell you one more thing, something that will help you not get discouraged along the way. How will you notice you're improving? Because changes arrive so quietly that sometimes they pass without you celebrating them. Don't expect a sudden change, a glorious day when you wake up feeling brand new. It won't be like that. It will be the opposite. It will arrive on tiptoes. One day you'll realize you've walked the promenade without looking for a bench. Another day, you'll see that you went down for bread and came back without getting out of breath. You'll notice you sleep through the night without the cramp that used to break your sleep. You'll see yourself getting up from the armchair without using both hands, almost without thinking, and only then will you realize what that means. These are the signs, small, silent, but enormous. Write them down when they arrive. Celebrate them, because each one of them is a victory you have built yourself, night by night, step by step. I also want us to have a practical conversation about quantities, because it's another thing that confuses and scares people, and it shouldn't. Many people think that to get enough protein, you have to eat enormous plates of meat, and that's not how it is, nor is it advisable, especially at night. To give you a simple idea, without scales or complications, a portion of protein, be it egg, fish, or whatever you choose, about the size of your palm, is more than enough for dinner. You don't need more, and it's not good to overdo it. The body doesn't absorb large quantities all at once. It prefers the right amount distributed throughout the day. That's why it's better to eat a little protein at each meal, including the dinner, than to gorge yourself once and fall short the rest of the time. 1 egg at night, a piece of fish the size of your hand, and you already have what your body will need in the early morning. Simple, right? And the same goes for the rest. A piece of sweet potato the size of your fist, half an avocado at most, a handful of red berries, a normal bowl of oats. No need to weigh anything, no need to stress about numbers. Your hand is the best measure you have. You always carry it with you, and it's made to your size. Trust it. What I want you to remember is that taking care of yourself isn't about eating a lot. It's about eating well and in the right measure. Sometimes, older people eat little of everything due to lack of appetite, and that's the danger. If you eat little, at least try to make that little of good quality, containing its protein, Because a body that eats little and also eats poorly is left without materials to repair itself. Small quantity, yes, but well chosen. That's the key at our age. Another practical thing people ask me a lot: what to do on days with little appetite? Those days when you don't feel like cooking or eating almost anything. It happens to all of us, especially when we live alone. For those days, always keep the easiest things on hand. Some eggs that boil in no time. A can of good fish that doesn't even need cooking. Some frozen red berries. With that, even on the laziest day, you have a decent dinner, effortlessly. Don't let laziness or discouragement leave you without dinner, because it's precisely on those days that it's most important to give your body what it needs to repair itself. Have your pantry ready for bad days, and bad days will cause you less harm. Now let me answer some questions that I know are on your mind, because everyone asks me them, and they are very good questions that show you are really thinking about getting started. The first and most repeated is, do you really have to eat right before sleeping? Don't they say eating late is bad? Good question. And let me clarify so there's no confusion. I'm not telling you to eat at midnight or to go to bed with a bursting stomach. That is bad, and it will disrupt your sleep. What I'm saying is that your dinner, the one you have at the end of the day, should be light but complete, with some good protein, and that you have it with enough time before going to bed to digest peacefully. It's not about eating late and a lot. It's about eating early and well. The difference is everything. A light dinner with its protein, eaten with time, is exactly what your body wants to repair at night without disturbing your rest. Second question, do I have to eat all 6 foods every night? No, not at all. And thankfully, because that would be boring. The trick is to alternate. One night, egg with a little avocado. Another, fish with sweet potato. Another, warm oats with red berries. Vary according to what you have at home, according to the season, according to what you feel like. A body appreciates variety more than repetition. The only thing that should never be missing is consistency in the underlying idea. Eating something nourishing for dinner, not just anything. Third, what if I have diabetes, cholesterol, kidney problems, or take pills? Here I get serious because it's important. Everything I tell you is what has worked for me and what I have seen work for people my age. But I am not a doctor and you are not me. If you have any illness, if you take medication, if your body has its own particularities, talk to your doctor or nutritionist before changing anything important. They know you. A food that feels wonderful to me might need to be adjusted for you. What I do does not replace your doctor, it accompanies them. Take care of yourself wisely. Fourth question, and this one touches me. Am I too old to start? You already know what I'm going to tell you, because I told you about a woman who started at 90. There is no age to stop taking care of yourself. The body responds at any age. More slowly the older you are, but it responds. The only bad time to start is never to start. If you have doubts about where to begin given your situation, that's one of the things I explained well in the guide, with small steps for each starting point. And the fifth, how long will it take to notice something? It depends on each body. I won't deceive you with timelines I can't promise. But from what I've seen in so many people, the first signs of improved sleep and fewer cramps usually arrive quite soon, within a few weeks of taking care of yourself. Strength, which is more fundamental, takes longer, a matter of a few months of consistency. Don't despair in the first few weeks if you don't see a dramatic change. Underneath, even if you don't see it, it's already happening. Muscle builds slowly and silently, like things that last. Before saying goodbye, I want to warn you about a few mistakes I see everyone make at night, so you don't fall into them. Because sometimes it's not just about what you add, but what you remove. The first and biggest mistake is dinner with only carbohydrates. That bread with tomato and that's it. Or that soup with bread and nothing else. Or those cookies with milk. They fill you up, warm you, comfort you, but they don't bring a single brick of protein for your body to repair at night. You go to bed with a half-empty pantry, just when the construction shift begins. If you have carbohydrates for dinner tonight, always accompany it with some protein, even just an egg. That egg changes everything. The second mistake is the opposite and also harmful. Going to bed almost fasting, thinking that you'll lose weight or rest better that way. I've already explained it, but I'll repeat it because it's important. A body that goes to bed completely empty can spend the night breaking down its own muscle to get what it lacks. It's not that you have to eat a lot for dinner. It's that a little good protein before bed protects your legs from your body drawing on them in the early morning. A light dinner is not an empty dinner. The third error is hidden salt and last-minute ultra-processed foods. Those packaged products, cold cuts, fried things, sauces that are so tempting at night when you're tired and don't want to cook. They contain a huge amount of salt that retains liquids, swells the legs, and leaves them heavy in the morning. If you notice swollen ankles when you wake up, look at what you had for dinner. Many times, the answer is there. And the fourth, as important as the others, is going to sleep without having drunk water all day. A dry body has thick blood and irritable muscles, and that's where nocturnal cramps find their moment. Don't drink a liter right before bed, because then you'll wake up 1,000 times to go to the bathroom. Distribute your water throughout the day, in sips, and arrive at night well hydrated. It's one of the simplest things and one of the most neglected. If you avoid these 4 errors and gradually add the foods I've talked about, you've already done half the journey without realizing it. And the other half, you already know, is to move those legs every day, even just a little. I'm going to make the beginning easy for you, because I know that sometimes what stops you isn't a lack of desire, but not knowing where to start. Don't change your whole life at once. That doesn't last. Tonight, just tonight, do one single thing. Make sure your dinner has some good protein. A boiled egg if you have nothing else. Just that. Tomorrow, add 1 chair stand in the morning. Just 1. The day after, add a little sweet potato or a handful of red berries to that dinner. Keep adding 1 by 1, without rushing, without stress. In a few weeks, without having killed yourself doing anything, you'll find yourself eating well and moving every day almost effortlessly, because it will have become a habit. And habits, those don't feel like a burden. To make it even clearer, I'll give you an idea of what a week could look like, without you taking it literally, just as an example so you're not left blank in front of the fridge. On Monday, a boiled egg with half an avocado. On Tuesday, grilled fish with a little roasted sweet potato. On Wednesday, a warm bowl of oats with a handful of red berries. On Thursday, a small omelette with vegetables. On Friday, fish again, because twice a week is wonderful. On Saturday, an egg with whatever you like from the list. And on Sunday, whatever you like best of all, because you also have to treat yourself. Notice that it's nothing strange, nothing expensive, nothing complicated. These are simple, light, homemade dinners, with their protein and varying so you don't get bored. Cut it, change it, adapt it to what you have in your kitchen and what suits you. The important thing isn't to follow my week, it's that yours has that idea within it. Eating little, but eating wisely. And while we're at it, I want to add 2 things that accompany all the above and that almost no one relates to leg strength, although they have everything to do with it. The first is the sun. Yes, the sun, that which at our age we often stop getting because we go out little. It turns out that vitamin D, which is so important for bones, for strength, and for balance, the body primarily produces with sunlight on the skin. A person who hardly ever goes out, who lives cooped up at home with the blinds half closed, has a high chance of being low in vitamin D without knowing it, and that shows in weaker legs and more fragile bones. I'm not telling you to bake in the sun, far from it, as at our age, skin is delicate. I'm telling you to go out for a while every day. Let the morning or afternoon sun hit your face and arms for a bit. Open the window and sit near it. It's free, it's simple, and it helps everything you eat for dinner work better. Sun and food go hand in hand more than it seems. And the second thing is companionship. Although you might be surprised that I put it here, because I've often seen that people who are alone take worse care of themselves, cook worse, move less, and their legs pay the price. It's not a matter of food, it's a matter of spirit, and spirit also supports the body. If you are alone, find a way not to be completely alone. A call, a neighbor, a walk with someone, anything that gives you a reason to get ready and go out. I tell you this because legs also get tired from sadness, even if it doesn't seem like it. A body with enthusiasm moves more, and a body that moves more preserves itself better. Let me tell you a couple more short stories, because each one teaches something different. There was a man who believed that walking was enough, that he walked a lot, and that was more than enough. And walking is great, no doubt about it. But walking alone is not enough, because walking doesn't force the muscle to truly exert strength, it only keeps it moving. He lacked precisely that, strength. And that's why stairs and getting up from a chair were difficult for him, even though he walked for miles. When he added his chair stands and took care of his protein at night, he noticed what he was missing. Let it be clear, walking is wonderful, but your legs also need to exert strength, not just move. And there was a woman who had the opposite problem, very typical among women of our generation. She had spent her life taking care of everyone but herself. First her children, then her grandchildren, then a sick husband. When she finally had time for herself, she almost didn't know how to take care of herself anymore. She even felt embarrassed. She told me that it seems selfish to think about her own dinner, her own walks. And I had to insist a lot on an idea that I now pass on to you. Taking care of yourself doesn't take anything away from anyone. On the contrary, a strong and healthy mother, grandmother, woman is a gift to her loved ones, not a burden. The day she started taking care of herself without feeling guilty was the day she started to regain her legs, and her grandchildren noticed it because she started playing with them on the floor again, something she hadn't been able to do for years. And I want to say something to anyone who might be listening to me and isn't older yet, but is watching this video thinking about their mother, their father, their grandmother. If that's you, listen to me. Don't force, don't scold, don't instill fear, because that doesn't work with anyone, and even less with older people. Accompany. Cook them a delicious dinner with their egg and fish, and sit down to eat it with them, because companionship nourishes as much as food. Go for a walk with them, slowly, at their pace. Make the difficult easy for them. Sometimes the only thing that stops an older person from taking care of themselves again is a hand that accompanies them in the first steps. Be that hand. And now, before goodbye, I want us to do one last thing together. Do you remember what I asked you at the beginning? I asked you to be honest with yourself and to look at how your legs feel lately. Firm or tired? Confident or treacherous? Look at that answer again now, with everything we've talked about. Because if the answer worried you, if you recognize those heavy legs, that fear of the stairs, that ceremony to get up from the armchair, then I want you to take away only one idea from here, the most important of all. You are not condemned to that. That body that fails you today can respond to you again. Not tomorrow, not all at once, but it can. I had those same legs, and today I climb my 18 steps without holding on. If I could, you can too. I'm not asking you to believe me because of my pretty face. I'm asking you to try it, to give your body a real chance for a few weeks. Eat smart for dinner, move your legs every day, drink your water, and get your sleep. And let time and consistency do their job, which they will. I'm not selling you a miracle. You already know that. I'm offering you something much better. The real possibility, with your effort, of continuing to be the owner of your legs, and therefore of your life for many more years. No pill gives you that. You give it to yourself every night in your kitchen and every morning in your living room. Think about what's on the other side. Think about continuing to go out alone to do your things, being able to visit your loved ones without depending on someone to take your arm, continuing to live in your own house, in your armchair, in your bed, owner of your days, not being a burden to anyone, which I know is what weighs on you most inside. All of that. It all starts with legs that respond, and those legs begin to be built tonight at dinner with a small decision that only you can make. I have lived a lot, and if I have learned anything, it's that the body almost never fails us suddenly. It warns us little by little, and almost always we are in time to listen if we pay attention. You are in time. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Don't even tell yourself. Let me tell you, almost at the end, what was the exact day I changed, because maybe you'll recognize yourself in it. It wasn't a great tragedy. It wasn't something out of a movie. It was a silly afternoon when a ball of yarn fell to the floor right next to my armchair, and I just stared at it. Stared at it, you understand? Calculating if it was worth the effort to bend down for it, if I would be able to get up afterward, if it wouldn't be better to wait for someone to come. And suddenly, I saw myself. I saw myself from the outside, as if it were another person looking at me. A woman who no longer bent down for a ball of yarn for fear of not being able to get up. And I felt something that wasn't sadness. It was anger. Good anger. The kind that pushes you. I said to myself, but what have I become? And I bent down. It was hard, and it was hard to get up, but I did it. And that night, while having dinner, just anything, as always, I started to think that maybe dinner and legs and everything had more to do with each other than I thought. That ball of yarn changed my life. I'm not kidding. It was the push I needed to stop resigning myself. I started to inform myself, to try things, to take care of what I ate for dinner, to move a little every day, at first with distrust, not entirely believing it. But the first signs arrived, as I told you they would. Arrive for you, quietly. One night without cramps, one morning with less stiff legs. One day I bent down for something and got up without thinking, and I remembered the ball of yarn. And tears almost came to my eyes right there, standing in the middle of the living room, because I realized I had recovered something I thought was lost forever. And if I recovered it, I who was already resigned, you can too. I tell you this, not for you to admire me, because there's no merit in it, but so you can see that I wasn't born knowing this, nor was I always a strong older woman. I was a woman who was about to give up because of a ball of yarn. The only thing I did right was not give up completely and try again. That's all. That's the only thing I ask of you. Don't give up completely. Give that body of yours one more chance, that body that has much more desire to live than you think. And with this, I say goodbye for today. But first, I ask you 3 small things that mean a lot to me. The first, if this video has helped you, hit the like button, which helps it reach more people our age who need it as much as you do. The second, write in the comments which of these 6 foods you are going to include in your dinner tonight. Write it, even if it's just one word, because when you write it, you commit to yourself, and also, your answer can encourage another person who is hesitating and doesn't know where to start. Maybe you'll read someone's comment who is going to start with an egg and say to yourself, well, me too. That's how we help each other. And the third, if you want to have everything organized with clear steps and many more ideas to care for your strength, your memory, and your independence, check out Independent at Any Age, which you'll find in the first comment and in the